Welcome to SRPG Plus and another edition of SRPG News. This week has been jam-packed full of gaming news due to the GDC conference of 2019. We had Google announce their streaming service and not a console like many thought it was going to be. And Nintendo had a crazy Indies Direct that just came out today. A lot of small announcements that really give us, a feeling like E3 is on its way. And we really want to get into it for you today.
Stadia will launch in 2019, and they left a lot of people with more questions than answers after their reveal. Stadia is launching first in the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Europe, and no Japan. So I guess tough luck to all you RPG fans.
Stadia, they showed off Stadia's specs by running it on several different consoles, switching over seamlessly. Looking at the screens and the ways that the button presses were done, it definitely was not a live presentation in any way. It seemed like either there was a lot of latency or there was just pre-rendered video that was already available. Because I know that also, they were showing off the Stadia controller. It looks pretty cool. It has 3 different variants. It's pretty dope, but they didn't even have like a really testable version of that controller at the convention either.
True. The controller, it comes in white, black, and a very light blue. One interesting feature is having the controller connect to Stadia and your devices through Wi-Fi. The controller features an industry standard layout, so like 4 buttons on the right, dual analogs, D-pad on the left, shoulder buttons, start and select. But with this, it adds some new additions too. The controller has a button to connect with Google Assistants. They showed off how you can seamlessly get walkthrough information, so without having to go to YouTube or something, you just ask it through the mic that's on the controller, and boom, it's right there. And then there's a share button, which is kind of becoming an industry standard, but in this instance, it'll save game clips directly to YouTube, either private or public, and you can go live. So that is really a really cool thing and streamer friendly. Just on that alone, it's kind of interesting for us content creators.
Google is also partnering with multiple different companies, Unreal Engine, Unity, Havoc. They all support Stadia. They've really emphasized to developers that their creativity scopes are limitless, which is going to bring games that we never thought could be possible to our just living experience. Now, of course, with Stadia, it requires so much CPU and GPU power for these titles. With those new titles, we're going to see a lot of completely new standards when it comes to gaming. Of course, this sort of situation with Stadia and how they're emphasizing their developers, they also showed their own first-party developer company as well. No games, no nothing like that, but.
But that is pretty major, though, Google coming out with a gaming company. And, no games, and I'm not too sold, to be honest. The only thing that interested me was the streaming aspect and just kind of the drop-in, play instantly without downloads. But also, I like to have games physically, so not rolling.
It is definitely becoming a sort of split situation. There's going to be people, maybe even gamers that aren't even full-fledged gamers right now, who are fully for the streaming service, and it fits their criteria. They have the internet to run it. They don't have the console to play it on. Some people it's going to benefit. Most old-school retro gamers are probably not going to be big fans of this sort of thing. But, of course, it all depends on what we see in the future with internet, because honestly right now with what they're showing us they're showing us things that are considerably limitless to us, but on the grand scheme of things and just on technology standards, it's very possible that more advances could be made to give us 5G servicing and things like that to be able to do this sort of thing, but right now it's definitely out of our reach.
And the next Nintendo, March 20th today, they dropped a bombshell of a Nintendo Direct Indies event and kicked off with the heavily rumored Cuphead finally getting announced for the Nintendo Switch. It'll be available April 18th. You can pre-purchase it now. I am super excited. And then I also saw just a little bit ago, it's confirmed for a physical release. Boy,
wow.
Xbox didn't even get that.
I did not hear about that, no. That is insane.
That is so dope. I'm super excited That was one of the best. Like that game actually had me considering getting an Xbox One S when they're super cheap during like Black Friday. Because I was like, man, I want to play Cuphead because that game looks super fun. It looks like it could be a really good like side-scrolling series, like going forward. But it was a really good way to start off the direct, and I'm very excited to play this amazing hard running gunner on the Switch.
Definitely a game that deserves to be on the Switch. Definitely a game that's needed when it comes to providing a fantastic indie experience. This game has shown off so much that indie developers can provide. Seeing a game like this, it really raises the bar, and having it on the Switch raises the bar for Switch games and indie Switch games as well.
And next was Overland, a tactical turn-based survival game, and it's coming out this fall. For me, being a super hard SRPG fan, as you all know, since the title of the channel, it looked pretty interesting, but a lot of indie like SRPGs are kind of hit or miss. Like with SRPGs, you gotta have really good mechanics and leveling systems. So it could be possible that this is a dope game, but we'll see this fall.
I think it looks cool. I mean, when it comes to just strategy games, it doesn't look like it has much RPG elements, but just the whole idea of random number generated levels every time you start a new game, it's going to be a completely different experience with your NPCs in completely different areas. Things like that are super cool to see in a game. It's always nice that developers try to incorporate that into a game versus having it be like some sort of niche situation where people just mod the hell out of the game until they can do something like that.
Devolver Digital support just won't stop. Blood, Bullets, Friend Pedro, which will be out this June.
And this game looked really, honestly, super dope, bro. Honestly, when it comes to just games that have this sort of ragdoll feel, it's obviously been played out a lot. But when it comes to just the idea of putting a type of series like a side-scrolling running gun sort of game into that sort of experience, it's super super cool to see, because just the flashes, the gun style that was provided in that game, I thought it looked super dope. Having it on the Switch, being able to play it is going to be awesome, honestly, and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, it's going to be out this June. And Neocab, where 1984 dystopian Big Brother society meets with ride sharing like Lyft or Uber. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It comes out in 2019. Seemed like an actually interesting game, how you manage like your feelings and emotions while driving. I think that's definitely worth checking out.
It'll definitely have feelings of like old school computer click, maybe like mystery games where you have like some sort of secret thing that you have to look for in the background of what you're doing, and being able to experience it with multiple different NPCs and have like a one-on-one connection with them. It's going to be really interesting to see what kind of dialogue they create for this game.
Katana Zero is a fast-paced, time-manipulating 2D platformer where one hit is fatal. It was really cool with when each slash kind of had a light effect on the screen, and you can really manipulate time in this game. So when you do die, you'll just rewind to the beginning of that level, so it shouldn't be too much to deal with.
And with the new game Red Lantern, I was really excited for a new survival experience coming from an indie platform and having such like an artistic feel to it. I love the idea of being in just the snow and the light from the sun just changing the colors all around you, and having to use your resources and use different sort of tactics to make sure that you and your dogs can get where you need to go. I think that game looks super awesome. I can't wait for Red Lantern, which is coming out in 2019. We don't have a time yet, but definitely want to check that one out for sure.
And you can never have too many horror games. Darkwood is a top-down horror game that's in the Switch in May. Had a really cool art style. It was real dark and gray. Kind of pixelated, but I like the top-down aspect of this game.
Definitely. And one game that I was really excited to look into was the pinball game. I don't even remember what it was called, but the game where you put like, just so much emphasis on ricochet style just experiences. I think that could be a whole new experience. The art style for that game looks super dope. I can't wait for that pinball game to come out either, honestly.
Yeah, Creature in the Well. It's gonna come out this summer, and Fallout is kind of a hype series, and Far Cry just kind of took their spin on it, and now Nintendo's indie devs are gonna show up with Rad coming out this summer for the Switch. That actually had a really cool art style, I thought.
Definitely. And then we have Blood Roots, where anything goes and anything is a weapon. Just a crazy looking indie game that's going to be out this summer. Everything's coming out this summer, and it's going to be just a whole jam-packed experience with the Switch coming soon here.
That game looked raw the way that seems like a really cool speed game. That's what I was thinking. And Pine is practically the indie Breath of the Wild. Hits the Switch in August. Had a lot of cool features and showed some cool races like Moose People.
Definitely. It looked like just a fun open world game that you can experience. And then the next couple of games we have is the arcade game Super Crate Box out this April, super soon. Super hyped for just another experience to be able to pick up and play and enjoy with anybody.
Nuclear Throne is an indie hit, and it's now available on the Switch, so that doesn't even we don't need too much of an explanation. Just go pick it up now if you're into those types of games.
We get even more arcade games with the Vlambeer arcade collection of mini games, which is also going to be out this year. Super exciting to see.
And I thought it was cool how they said that they were going to continuously update it with smaller little releases. I thought that was really cool. And have you ever wanted an underwater shooter? Well, Swim Sanity is out this year in June, so
that's
this
your
summer,
niche, man.
Yeah, this summer
know.
is really jam-packed with the indies. But, Blaster Master Zero is out now. Holy shit, that is hype. I love Blaster Master Zero, the remake that came out to the Switch around the time that it launched by NT Creates. And they just made a sequel, and it's out today. Nobody even knew about it. That was a cool stealth drop.
I definitely enjoyed Blaster Master 1, and being able to play Blaster Master 2 is going to be super dope on the Switch. Those sort of games really bring you back to a good time, and using those limitations that they have to make such a fantastic game is going to be dope. The next thing we have is Stranger Things 3, the game. It launches the exact same time as the third season on July 4th. So if you're in a situation where you don't have Netflix, or you just want to experience it on your own end, try out the game. It might be even cooler than watching the TV show itself.
Donde estos?
Exactly.
And Link, Zelda, and Indies. Strange mixture, but it may be perfect. Cadence of Hyrule is out this spring, and this was kind of like the jaw-dropping announcement that it was because a lot of people like Crypt of the Necromancer, that title, and from those developers, they're making this. And the fact that it's actually using assets, characters, music from Legend of Zelda, that was huge. I thought that was super cool, and I'm really glad that Nintendo has such a good relationship with these indie developers that they're even lending stuff out like that. That's major.
It's definitely interesting to be able to see something like that, and it really makes you think about what sort of indie games that Nintendo will support in the future and provide that sort of IP service to. Because, you could end up with some crazy indie game where you're actually using Nintendo characters, something where it actually feels almost like a Metroidvania or something like that, where you actually get to play as a character that's normally not in that sort of setting, whether it be like Pikmin, who cares? Anything, honestly. It'd be just cool to see it in a different experience.
I agree, that would be pretty cool. Put Pikmin in an SRPG, man. He's already pretty much doing it. And so we had Castle Crashers get announced as a Castle Crashers remastered by Behemoth. I am super excited. I played that on the 360 with a group of friends so much and beat it with them. And they're adding a new mode. They're touching up the graphics. It's a really good way to start off the 10-year anniversary for Castle Crashers.
I definitely feel that Castle Crashers provides not only a great beat-em-up style experience, but also great leveling systems and great item support. Being able to level up your characters and provide that sort of experience, it makes it almost feel like an action RPG more than just a beat-em-up.
Yeah, I saw from their little reveal thing, it showed a cabinet, an arcade Castle Crashers cabinet. That would be so sick. I would sink thousands of hours into that just if I had that over the course of my life. That's probably one of my favorite arcade games, even though it feels a lot different than an arcade game, but also very similar to like the standards. And speaking of arcade games, Konami. We've had a lot of choice words for Konami just in general discussion and just in the community of gaming recently. Usually they're doing grab bags and pachinko machines. But hey, Konami has given us the 50th year anniversary collection, which comes with the Shooter Arcade Collection, Castlevania's Arcade Collection, and Contra's Collection. Contra and Castlevania, they announced 4 games for, and they have 4 more to announce. And for Castlevania, they showed a Game Boy game and an SNES game. Ooh, wee.
Man, it's going to be super exciting being able to have this experience. I wish it was just on the NES Classic, but of course there's games that aren't on the NES by itself, so having all of these games available on the Switch and being able to experience those classic games, that's a lot of people want that out of their Switch, being able to experience classic games. I know a lot of people want to buy their classic games as well for the 10th time.
Bring back Virtual Console.
So hopefully that helps them out a little bit, but of course I'm more of a fan of the online service for the game, since I do plan on keeping my Nintendo Online, as well as I'm excited always when they provide something new, whether it be a special remake of a game that's already on the NES library for the Switch, or if they add a completely new game. Stuff like that is amazing, and it makes you feel like there's something to look forward to when it comes to having a Nintendo Online.
And with the week of GDC coming to a close soon, this was SRPG news. We may have some more topics to discuss in the near future, because they've just been dropping announcements left and right.
Don't stop. Don't stop.
Thanks for checking us out. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes,